Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Outliers YouTube channel and podcast series and our program, Get to Know. I'm your host, DP Lyle. I'm here with my co-host and partner in crime, Kathleen Antrim.
Thanks, Doug. It's great to be here. We have a fantastic interview for you today. He's a first-time author with a really interesting background. He is a former CIA. Were you a case officer, Scott?
Not a case officer. I was in the agency's Office of Security.
Okay, and then also a global security executive. And he's written his first book, and we've got Scott Urbach. Welcome, welcome, Scott. It's great to have you on Get to Know.
Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, as Doug knows, and our viewers know, I like to put our victims, authors, on the couch first to start. And I want to know about your childhood, if you're free to talk about it. I'm assuming it's not classified. So what I want to know is, do you feel your childhood impacted you becoming a writer? Were you a shy child? Were you an extrovert, introvert? Did you have imaginary friends? Tell us about it.
Well, I've seen enough of your shows to have anticipated this question. And
Yes.
no, I've been thinking back. I didn't have any imaginary friends that I can recall. I grew up in Southern California, just north of Los Angeles. And I was a fairly voracious reader. I do remember that from way back when. Um, my I grew up with my family in San Fernando Valley. I have two. I'm the oldest of three boys, and I do remember my earliest recollection of reading was the, and I'm going to be dating myself here, but the Louis L'Amour Western series from way back when. Of course, appropriate for my future, I did read a lot of the Ian Fleming books. Now, not when they first came out in the 50s, obviously, but so I was a big Ian Fleming fan, and that then continued my love of reading, then continued all through adulthood. Obviously Tom Clancy. When he came out with all of his books, I actually had an opportunity to meet him when I was in the agency, and that was very interesting. And then all the way up to today, I continued to read quite a bit.
So, how did you end up going to work for the company?
So that was back in 1984. I graduated from school in San Diego with a degree in political science. And now this was back in the day, you didn't go onto a computer and apply or anything like that. I think I walked into the Career Center and there was a folder on the wall that said Central Intelligence Agency. And I went back to my dorm room and pulled out on a typewriter, I'm sure, and typed up a letter and sent it off. And a few weeks later, I got a call from a Mr. Jones, and which I thought was a pseudonym. Turns out his name really was Mr. Jones. And then just went through the process after that. And it was a fairly lengthy process. Back then, the agency was looking for all American men and women who could pass a polygraph and a background investigation. Obviously, the world has changed a little bit, and they're looking for different skill sets now. But it was an interesting process that I thoroughly enjoyed.
How
I know
long
I
were you with
have
them?
a number of acquaintances and friends who are multilingual. And if when they're studying in college, they usually get approached looking for
Right.
different languages and such.
I- I'm I'm multilingual enough to order a beer in Mexico. And,
You and me both.
yeah, and Doug, to your question, I was with the agency for 10 years, from
Okay.
1984 to 1994.
So then tell us about global security. Then you went into global security as an executive. Tell us about that.
I did. So after leaving the agency, I was recruited away from the agency by a company in California in the aerospace industry, and then that just kind of started my career there. I've worked for a number of global um, companies over the years. As you can tell by all the gray hair, I've been doing this for quite a while, a little over 40 years now, and each one, a little bit more responsibility. Culminating most recently, I was the chief security officer for one of the big three automakers here in Detroit,
Mhm.
and retired about oh, a year ago, knowing that I'd probably still do something else. I didn't know it'd be as short as it was. I got pulled out of retirement, and I now lead the safety, security, and loss prevention team for a global restaurant group.
Wow.
Really,
Well,
really interesting. And so I'm assuming you stay tapped in, and we have a lot of authors, for example, that go over to Dubai to speak at their book fair that has a little over 2 million people attend. And so, what's the state of security right now in the world?
Well, all you have to do is, unfortunately, turn on the news any single day, and there's always something going on. I've always been involved in global companies with a large global scope. So it really depends on, on a day-to-day basis, whether we're dealing with open warfare someplace, or a coup attempt someplace, or
Mhm.
threats against global companies and our employees in different locations. Obviously, and thankfully, I don't have responsibility and never have for cyber, but that's, obviously a huge issue that myself and my teams always partner up very closely with the cyber and IT security folks.
yeah, that's huge now, especially with AI, which nobody really understands. Nobody really knows where it's going, what it can do, but it's cyberdyne, baby.
Right. Exactly.
I have a source that I could tell you about. You probably already know it, that shows the cyber attacks, where they're coming from and where they're hitting. It's really interesting, and how many are coming in. It's just remarkable.
It
Yep.
is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you decided at some point in time that you wanted to sit down and put words on a paper and create a story. How did that come about, and when was that? And
Well,
what process did you go through to say, okay, I can do this, maybe, you know?
it's a bit convoluted, and it was very recent. So my family, my kids have been after me forever to write a book, um, but I wasn't going to write a memoir of any type. I mean,
Right.
that's not my style. Uh, During my brief retirement for a few months, I'd set a goal in 2023 to read 100 novels or more. I exceeded that by, I read about 120. Of those, and I know you'll know some of these names, I had also at about the same time got into scuba diving very heavily, and just on a whim said, I wonder if there's any scuba diving related novels that would be interesting. And that led me to Nicholas Harvey, who I know has been
Yeah.
on the show,
Yeah.
and Douglas Pratt and the Tropical Authors Group. Um, Wayne Stennett being one of the founders of the Tropical Authors Group, and among his 30 or 40 novels he's written, I think his 30th is coming out soon. One of the novels he wrote, not a novel, but a work of nonfiction, was I think it was called No Collar, or Blue Collar to No Collar: How to, go from a truck driver to writing a first novel. So I read that and I said, oh, maybe that's what I should do. And then I sat down in secret and did it. I didn't tell anyone in the family. My wife didn't know, the kids didn't know. I finished the draft. I had to send that off to I'm still bound by a lifetime um,
Right.
commitment with the agency that anything that I write has to be vetted by them.
Right.
Now, if I wrote a cookbook, not a problem. If I write something in any way intelligence related, it has to be vetted by what's called the CIA Pre-Publication Classification Review Board. So I sent it off to them, got their redactions back. There weren't many. Then what I decided to do was, manifest this book in such a way that I actually took that manuscript, had it, I'd already engaged a cover designer, had it actually printed as a book, and then handed those out, surprised the family, handed them out. That's the first time they knew that I was doing this, is when I handed them what was truly like the first draft, that here's the book, and it's filled with Easter eggs for them to find, because they're all characters in it. The stories in it that the protagonist has about, you know, how he met his wife and where they went on their first date and things like that are all true and in there. It's a work of, I guess we'd call it autobiographical fiction, very loosely based on some of my career assignments. I also sprinkled some things in there that I knew would amuse my former colleagues. Inside incidences, references to things that only those that were on the team that I was on would know. There's a story about melted ice cream that's a key part of the book that no one would understand except for the 15 or 20 people I used to work with.
That's very cool. It's very
Did you
fun.
outline it or did you just start writing it? What was your
Well, so it
process?
turns out I thought I was an outliner when I started. I'm very much am not. The entire plot of what I outlined was gone within the first, chapter or two. And I
Yeah.
turned into a full-on pantser.
Yeah,
The story
exactly.
went a completely different direction. I've kept the outline because I may use it for book 2 or 3, but
Yep.
it went a completely different direction.
Love the cover.
The cover's fantastic.
Thank you. That's David Behrens is the cover artist. I give all the
Ah,
credit to him.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
very cool.
So what
Very
are you working on now?
Well, I am I think 20,000 words or so into book 2
okay.
Great.
that picks up, within a year or so of the ending of book 1, and have already, you know, told the family that, some of them are going to be in it, some of them aren't, some of them may make it out, some of them may not. We'll have to see.
They have to be nice to you now.
Yes, the
Exactly.
pen is
They don't
mightier
want to
than the
get
sword.
killed off in the book. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Scott, tell our viewers how they can learn more about you, if you have a website and where they can buy your book.
I do. The website is scotturbach.com, and you can go there, learn more about the book, a little bit more about me, sign up for the mailing list. As part of that, I have, my little book magnet is a classified personnel file for Grant Hunter, the main character, with some redactions in there, gives a little backstory about him. And then the book is exclusive on Amazon. So it's on Kindle Unlimited, doing very well, and much to my surprise. I thought maybe I'd sell, 3 books to family members or whatnot, but it's
Well,
taken
good
off.
for
It's,
you.
it's doing very, very well. So it's on Kindle Unlimited and hard copy, hardcover, paperback, and just released an audio book.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, it's great to have you on. We'll have to have you back on when you get the second one done. Then I'll
Absolutely.
delve into some other part of your private life. In the meantime, I want to ask our viewers to please click the thumbs up if you enjoyed this interview and subscribe. It's free. You just click the little button, and that way you won't miss any of the interviews that we're doing on Get to Know or Criminal Mischief. And I'm going to throw it back to you, Doug.
Well, Scott, thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you, and love the book, love the cover. Can't wait to see the next one, and hopefully we'll cross paths at a conference pretty soon or something like that.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I appreciate you inviting me here. And my next goal is to be able to qualify for NINC, and maybe I can cross
ah,
paths with you guys there.
yeah,
Fabulous.
that's a great conference. That's a great group. Yeah.
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 Um, Well, that wraps up this episode of Get to Know here on the Outliers YouTube channel and podcast series. And we'll be back, as you know, with more interviews. And until then, keep reading, keep writing, have fun, and don't get caught.